A lot of the work you do will be thrown away, thrown in the bin. It'll be scrapped. Experiments, by their nature are experimental and they fail. And so that actually shifts engineering culture completely on its head. You have to, get comfortable with doing just enough engineering and moving fast. Like, what's the smallest piece of code we can ship to validate this direction? And then if that has some success signals out of it, we can then go away and figure out how to productize it. One of the things we quickly realized, though, as well, is that, when you're trying to grow a subscription business, the back end is just as important as the front end. And by that, I mean payments and subscription infrastructure. So we had a little old billing team of just 3 engineers at the time who were sort of looking after everything to do with making money at Canva. And we were at that point, we already had, I think, about 200,000 paying customers. So it was no small feat, but we quickly realized that to do the type of sort of high velocity, high impact growth work, we really needed to beef out that billing team as well and be able to do things like, an example of stuff we like to experiment with and did experiment with back then was just even the length of the trial. What's the optimal trial length for driving conversion, getting people in to try the pro product, but not being too long such that, their intent drops off, things like that. And that a lot of that happens on the back end as well. So you need to build sort of that growth muscle into the engineering culture in the back end as well as the front end as well.
And how did you do that? Because obviously it's like a muscle, right? It has to be built over time and consistency. Yeah. So what was kind of some of the things which you did, to change the team's thinking in terms of growth?
It's really interesting. I've actually been thinking a lot about this recently as we sort of, grow Canva. It's over 1,000 people now, and we're trying to create sort of, I guess, repeatable, scalable growth processes right across the business and ensure that all of the sort of 14 or 15 product groups are doing high quality growth work at Canva. One thing that I think is often overlooked is that engineering growth culture, because growth engineering is actually quite different to product engineering. Product engineering is a lot of greenfield projects, going away and writing a design doc for maybe, weeks or months and then going away and building the thing for weeks or months. And it's super important and valuable work, but, growth is the complete other end of the spectrum. A lot of the things you try won't work. A lot of the work you do will be thrown away, thrown in the bin. It'll be scrapped. Experiments, by their nature are experimental and they fail. And so that actually shifts engineering culture completely on its head. You have to, get comfortable with doing just enough engineering and moving fast. Like, what's the smallest piece of code we can ship to validate this direction? And then if that has some success signals out of it, we can then go away and figure out how to productize it. And it's not just about sort of getting individuals comfortable with that. It's actually about getting your organization comfortable with that as well. I think, when you have a CTO and an engineering culture and a way of doing things, especially a really high bar for how you do things like Canva does, that can often kind of cause some friction that you're getting in and you're actually shipping some pretty hacky code to production. And so it just requires sort of slowly bringing everyone on that journey together, which is like what we're trying to do is find ways of growing the product. And the minute we do that, we have this mutual agreement and a shared understanding that we will then go away and, productize things exactly the way they should be. So that's just, one little hurdle we had to overcome with growth engineering. But I guess the other thing is just moving fast, is just how can we ship, a few more experiments every week or every month, because that growth compounds, those learnings compound. Even if you don't get a winning experiment, the learnings out of that usually, for every experiment you run, you usually get about 4 or 5 more ideas that fall out the bottom of it based on the data and the learnings you've gotten as well. So speed is really, really key. And we really place an emphasis in those early days of just trying to move fast, trying to ship as many quick wins as we could, build momentum, build learnings, build a really strong backlog of hypotheses for our next sets of experiments. And so I think that speed was really important then.